Pledge of Allegiance. Have a reflection from Alan Alpert and induct a new Rotarian today. We'll do the four-way test at the end of the meeting. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, please remain standing. Rabbi.
The last few weeks have been very difficult weeks in Buffalo, in Uvalde, in Tulsa, and it's enough to depress anybody. Yet we take a look, and in the words of Mr. Rogers, if you take a look at all the terrible things that go on and ask the question, where is good? His mother always said, take a look at the people that are helping out. Today we look out and we see a beautiful day. The sun is shining, the water is gorgeous, the grass is green, different colors show us the variety of life. Allow us to be grateful for the good things and not be weighed down by the terrible things, but to work together with the four-way test to be a blessing to ourselves and to everyone else. Amen.
All right, you may be seated, and we'll enjoy lunch, and we'll get back with our visiting Rotarians and guests, and we got a lot of visitors today.
Checks for Jenny.
Ginny?
No.
What were they for?
I don't know. She said she needed her checks today. I'm like,
These are for America. But I hadn't tore them apart yet, so I wasn't. This is all I know about. I think these are all for America. Yeah. But,
all right, I'll see what she's trying.
right.
Okay, do I give this to you then?
Yeah. Or actually, Kathy.
I got a bet with myself. Did Skolnick sign up today?
Yes. He did.
I lost the bet.
Did you see the email from Jenny? It was the Paul Harris stuff. Because I guess Tim had sent it to them and said that we needed to have it by today.
I thought there wasn't anything I was supposed to do with any of them, so I don't recall if I saw it or not. I can look after the meeting. Here, these are all for you.
Give everyone a sec. All right, we are on to visiting Rotarians and guests, and I have counted 13 visitors so far. So if you're a Rotarian with a visitor, if you could please make your way up here, and Amy will hand you the mic. Rotarian will introduce the guests. You guys will stand on your mark here so everyone can see on Zoom. Looks like Randy Lindquist, our new ISD superintendent, is going to lead us off.
Awesome.
You want to see yourself there?
See yourself, Pops? I do. Good afternoon. I have the privilege of introducing my guest, Larry Lindquist, who is my father, a proud educator of 31 years. Being superintendent as one of those, former Montague Whitehall Rotarian, and most importantly, a great role model for me in my educational career and life. So, Larry Lindquist.
Hi, we have with us today Ashley Dirsch and Kendra Brackstrom from Kids Food Basket.
Hello, I've got Amy Moore from the Community Foundation. She's our Vice President of Evaluation in grant capacity. She's doing a lot of work with community engagement. Amy.
Hi, I'm Julia Rupp, and I have with me today Mickey Wallace. And Mickey is very involved in the community, so you may know him from a number of places, but he is also the DEI Director for Health West.
Good morning. I am happy to introduce you to our new Greater Muskegon Economic Development, our new CEO and President, Marla Schneider, who just started yesterday, and she is here from Fort Wayne.
Hello, my guest today is Shukurani Singiyumba, who is the program coordinator for Read Muskegon. She oversees all of our family literacy programs, including our pilot program in Muskegon Heights for our family empowerment program that's just about ready to finish up.
Hi, I have two guests today, Mark Krause and Caitlin Olson from True North. Mark is a Rotarian in Fremont, and he is also a member of the Hesperia School Board. Welcome.
Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to introduce Little Raj, as I call him, Raj Griwal. I call him Little Raj because his dad is Big Raj to me, and he owns Curry Kitchen, if any of you all have partaken in their delicious Indian cuisine. That is his family's restaurant. He is tomorrow he'll be graduating, so a very soon-to-be graduated alumni of Calvary Christian, where he is with the Youth Advisory Council, and he is also the National Honor Society president. Super smart kid. I've known him since he was a baby. He is with the Punjabi Youth Cultural Committee, Student Council President, Law Day Speech Contest second place winner. He plays varsity golf, basketball, soccer, and club ice hockey. He plans to attend University of Michigan.
Oh, I'm sure was that hard for you to say, Brianna?
It was so difficult. What was even more difficult is he had the nerve to ask me to write his letter of recommendation. I was like, yeah, I know those regents there. I'll do your letter for you. So I guess it worked. Political science and pre-law is what he hopes to major in. He is also a founder of the Youth, and can you pronounce that for me?
So Youth Bhangra, which is a Punjabi cultural dance, and we've been doing it since we were young. Actually, Jasmine, who will be up here, was part of it too. it's just something we kind of grew up in, so we decided to just keep it going and pass on traditions. So yeah.
And he's my neighbor. I just love this kid. So anyway, it's a pleasure to introduce Raj Griwal.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have the pleasure of introducing Shaquille Anthony. Shaq is in a doctoral program at Cornerstone University. He is studying organizational development, and is at the phase now where he is beginning to write his dissertation. So the end is near. Shaq is a native of Muskegon Heights. He has a background in diversity, equity, and inclusion in human resources, and he's open to new senior management opportunities.
Oh, you can have a-
Hello, I'm Claire Root Benson, and I have with me today Jasmine Carr, who is a junior at Muskegon Catholic Central. She'll be attending the Life Leadership Conference coming up in a couple of weeks here, and is getting involved with the Interact Club at Catholic. She's within the top 10 of her class and involved in tennis and volunteering for the theater department. She also volunteers with Kids Food Basket, Every Woman's Place, and the Muskegon Rescue Mission, and with her church. So welcome, Jasmine.
Hello, I'm with David Hall. He's got-
Come on over, come a little closer. Let's go.
closer?
Let's go.
All right.
Board members.
Oh, board members?
Yeah, we can get
I
close.
better leave. I'm with David Hill here. He is with a senior at Muskegon Catholic Central. He is involved with the Interact as well as the beach cleanup, and he's done some other things here with the NHS student, and wrestling too. You know, he's a big, young, strong guy there. Anyway, he's also planning on attending U of M as well. There you go. He's considering business and/or something in the medical field. So this is David Hall, and what a fine young man he is.
We should have just introduced the non-visitors today. That was a great group, everyone very interested in Rotary in our program today. Speaking of which, Kathy Moore is going to introduce our speaker today. Kathy, we are ready. It's that time.
Thank you. Muskegon Community College embarked upon a community-wide strategy to promote best practices for diversity, equity, and inclusion to ensure that individuals of all identities, backgrounds, and abilities are able to thrive and be engaged across the community. With this in mind, a new administrative position was created, and Ken James was selected to fill that role. Ken has a wealth of experience. Most recently, he was the Director of Inclusion for the Grand Rapids Chamber of Commerce and has held similar positions at Spectrum Health University, Grand Valley State University, Hackley Hospital. You might also recognize him as a former Affirmative Action Director for the City of Muskegon from 1997 to 2005. Ken is a native of San Diego, California. He earned a bachelor's degree in public administration from Kentucky State University and a master's degree in public administration from Grand Valley State University. He and his wife, Tamasha, are the proud parents of 3 teenage daughters. It is my pleasure to introduce, and for some, reintroduce Ken James, Chief Diversity Officer for Muskegon Community College.
Well, good afternoon. And for those of you that speak a lot, sometimes the after lunch crowd can be kind of tough. And so to make sure that we're engaged, and feel free to eat if you haven't finished it yet, or if you haven't had coffee yet, I want to tell a quick joke. Why did Dr. Dre create headphones? Beats me. So, in all seriousness, Trustee Herman, thank you for that introduction. And I also know that Trustee Crandall is here, so if there are any other MCC administrators that I've missed, that was not intentionally. I want to thank you for that. And then also, I know there was some groans and some cheers when I heard the young people that were going to U of M, but I want to remind everybody in this room that credits from Muskegon Community College transfer to both Michigan State and to U of M. So keep that in mind. So I do have a presentation that I want to share with you today. I am honored to serve as the inaugural Chief Diversity Officer. This is a homecoming of sorts. As Trustee Herman alluded to, I did live in this community and work in this community for about 12 years. My career took me to the Grand Rapids area, and now I'm back, and I'm indeed excited to be back. So I want to share just a few things with you about what I've been doing in the 9 months that I've been at MCC and what you can expect going forward. So Trustee Herman did a good job with my bio, and feel free to take notes, but the presentation that I'm using here today will be provided to you via email as well, so you can refer to it as later. So I won't go through my whole bio, but what I will do is just give you a highlight, a little bit about me so you know who's standing in front of you today. I'm originally from San Diego, California. I'm a Navy brat. I'm the youngest of 4 children. My dad spent 24 years in the Navy. And my oldest sister was born in Pensacola, Florida, and that's where my dad met my mom when he got out of basic training. My brother, after her, was born in Atoka, Tennessee. That is a small community outside of Memphis, and a lot of people are very curious to find out there's a Naval Air Station in Memphis, Tennessee. It's still there. My sister, after him, was born in Subic Bay, Philippines, and I was born in San Diego, California. After 24 years in the Navy, my dad retired and went to work for San Diego Gas and Electric, so the family stayed in San Diego, so I consider that my hometown. I left there to go to college. I went to Kentucky State University on a football scholarship. That is a Division II historically black college. I played football there, and I'll date myself. I graduated in 1994. And at that time, I moved to West Michigan to get my master's at Grand Valley State University. And I came here on a 2-year plan. I was going to get my master's and go somewhere warm, and 30 years later, I'm still here. Reason being is that second bulleted point. I am outnumbered at home. I am married with 3 daughters. Right now, their ages are 14, 16, and 17. And they are finishing up their 9th, 10th, and 11th grade year, respectfully. So the chapter of life I'm in is driver's training, college applications, and summer activities, all that's going on. But in the 28 years that I've been doing professional work, I've worked in a variety of capacities. I've done training and development, affirmative action, equal opportunity, recruitment, talent acquisition, but every position I've had the lens of DEI. That is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I've worked in municipal governments. Again, for those of you that I'm meeting for the first time, hello. For those of you that I'm reconnecting with, it's good to see you. But I spent 8 years with the city of Muskegon as a director of affirmative action. But I've worked in municipal government, healthcare, higher education, corporate retail. I went back to healthcare. I was a nonprofit for 5 years. Most recently, I was a director of inclusion at the Grand Rapids Chamber. And I am honored to be back in higher ed, serving as the chief diversity officer at Muskegon Community College. I started that role in September of last year, so I'm about 9 months in. But I want to share with you that I also bring with me, in addition to my lived experiences, my professional experiences, an executive certification in diversity coaching. Most recently, I got this in 2021. So I'm a certified associate diversity coach. And I got this in partnership through Coach Diversity Institute and the Howard University School of Business. And the last time I checked, I was the only one with this designation in the state of Michigan. So I want to just say a few things about DEI. So as we go forward, you'll hear me talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. That might be a little bit dark, but again, you'll get a copy of these slides. But when you hear me say DEI, I'm referring to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I just want to give you a quick overview of those definitions so you know what I mean when I say DEI. And sometimes people think DEI, those words are interchangeable. No, they're all very important. They're all very different. They have their own nuances. But I define diversity as the differences that make each of us unique. Now, human nature would have us gravitate to what we can see when we hear diversity: age, race, maybe gender, but it's much more comprehensive than that. Country of origin, native language, diversity of thought, urban, suburban, inner city, rural, Catholic, Protestant, atheist. I mean, the list goes on and on. There are very multiple lenses to diversity, and they're all indeed important because there's a richness in that, and there's a perspective in that. But then we also hear the word equity. And equity seeks to ensure fair treatment and equality of opportunity and fairness and access to information and resources for all. So that's simply what equity is. We want to make sure everyone has the same opportunity and access to do that, and we're going to put things in place to make sure we have that opportunity. But I also tell people, don't confuse equity with equal. Equal is, same distribution. So let me give you an example about equal to kind of send it home. If I was passing out shoes in this room right now, if we were being equal, I would give everybody a size 14 pair of shoes. Because I'm being equal, that's what I wear. But equity would be digging in who needs a flat, who needs a heel, who needs a hiking boot, you know, what size do you need? So just to give you an idea about that. And then last but not least is inclusion, where we want to build a culture of belonging by actively inviting the contributions of perspectives from all people. So that's when you hear me say DEI, that's what I'm referring to. We want to get to belonging, where we feel like we are a part of something and where we can be our authentic selves and truly contribute to that. So let me tell you, there are benefits to inclusion. So obviously, I am the result of some very forward thinking of our outgoing president, Dr. Del Nesbury, and he said we need a chief diversity officer. But I want to share with you that the role of a chief diversity officer is not easy. Why? Because I have to see, manage, and honor differences. And then I have to deal with the current reality. So depending on who you talk to, some people think when they hear of DEI that we're doing too much, or we're doing too little, or it's too late, or it's too soon, we've not done enough, and quite frankly, some people think it's not necessary at all. So I have to manage all of those things and figure out what is the best plan of action to move forward. Take a look at this image, because I think it shapes up why the role is challenging. Just because you are right does not mean I am wrong. You just haven't seen life from my side. So we have to manage that. And so I always, when I approach DEI work, and I'll tell you about some of the things you can expect out of my department over the next few months here, is I never discount anyone's lived experience. I'm not naive. I know somebody that woke up this morning and said, hey, I don't like Ken because of the color of his skin. I'm not talking about those folks. I'm talking about those of us that want to work together and we have different approaches to how we find solutions to things. And so we can see it differently, but we still can find a consensus. And so we have to, again, honor those differences and find a way to move forward. And so our perspectives can be right, but we can still agree to disagree, but we can always lead with dialogue and discourse. I stay away from debate and argument. That's one of my mantras, but I like to share the dissemination of information so that we can all make informed decisions. So the Chief Diversity Officer at MCC, in the last 9 months that I've been here, I have been doing a listening tour and a needs assessment. In fact, many of you in this room I've met with already, and some of you I'll be meeting with in the very near future. And here's what I found out by doing my tour. One, that the leadership was in place to do this. So there was a strong reputation. And then also there's funding. So there has been so much support from the community for this role that the philanthropic and the business community got together to say, let's make sure the office is off to a good start and seed some things to go forward. So I'll be remiss, I won't call too many names because I don't want to be leave someone out and get in trouble for that, but I would like to acknowledge the Community Foundation for Muskegon County in taking the lead for that funding around DEI work. So here's what you can expect from that investment as I get a little bit down the line here. So I was able to pick up from the 4 pillars that MCC had in place before I was an MCC employer. And so around DEI, MCC had established that they wanted to build diversity, equity, inclusion around 4 pillars. And those 4 pillars are cultural awareness, workforce and organization strategy, cultural competency, and community outreach. And so I've taken those 4 things, and as I did my listening tour, I came up with the 4 stakeholder groups that MCC serves that I will add the lens of DEI to. And those are, first and foremost, our students. Do we attract and retain a student body reflective of our community? And when I say attract and retain a student body, I'm talking about what we would call a traditional student, students that are 25 plus, returning citizens, returning veterans, someone that wants to get a workforce degree, or somebody that just wants to take a couple of classes on the side. Whatever that person is, they are welcome at MCC, and we want to help them achieve that goal. Secondly, faculty and staff. Are we a culturally competent institution? So does DEI, is it reflected in our pedagogy? Is it reflected in our syllabi? Is it reflected in how we reach out and attract students? And when we think about our service area, which is Muskegon, Ottawa, and Newaygo counties, there are nuances there that we have to reach. Again, urban, inner city, rural, have Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi. What about transportation? All these things. So we have to address these equity gaps and to do this. Thirdly, the community at large. I'm bringing the lens of DEI to the community at large. So many of you know that Muskegon Community College is known for its Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Unity Day breakfast. And I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that our postponed event is on June 10th, next week, Friday. There are still tickets available. And so if you need more information about that, let me know. But I want to build upon that. That event is normally in the winter. And do we need a second community event specifically around DEI? Do we need a community lecture series? So when this community thinks of DEI, I want them to know that they can come to MCC as a thought leader around that. And last but not least is the business community. My department will be providing diversity, equity, and inclusion training for the business community. In fact, I'm pleased to tell you that we've built our tier 1 of services. We have implicit bias training that's ready to roll out right now. And our implicit bias training does meet the needs of the healthcare mandate for healthcare workers that have to have implicit bias training. Another training that we have in tier 1, is our benefits of an inclusive workforce. But thirdly, I can customize something for each of your areas individually. I meet organizations where they're at. So whether this is your first step on this DEI journey, we can start there, or maybe you've been on the DEI journey for a while and you need to navigate something new. I can leverage my coaching certification to help customize something for your specific organization. And then long-term goals and metrics. So obviously we're gonna measure what we do. We're gonna take a snapshot. Here's where we are now. Here's where we want to be and how have we been successful on that. In addition to that, because of the ground things that have been laid, the foundation that has been laid and the groundwork has been laid, we are going to build my team, and that will happen to coincide with early January, I get the right month, early July when our fiscal year starts. So departmental support is online, as well as hiring my first director level role is online, so I can meet the needs of these things that I'll be rolling out. And we'll measure that, and everything will be transparent. So you'll see dashboards and frameworks on our website that you can always see what's going on. So again, as we think about the internal and external work that I've been doing, the collaboration is in place. So again, as I had conversations around the community, there's a lot of collaboration that was in place. And again, MCC was poised to kind of pick up this baton and run with it. And then with that revenue piece, this work will be sustainable. So I said one of the 4 pillars that I'm looking at is bringing that training to the department. So this will be self-sustaining going forward because we're going to provide this training. And if you look at the 4 areas that I laid out, the students, the faculty, staff, the community at large, and the business community, there's a continuum there. So again, we have to always think about when our students come here, if they're employed, we want them to go out into our community, and we want you to be able to attract and retain talent as employers. So that's all part of our continuum in keeping this and going forward. And lastly, but not least, I will share with you that we are creating space to have a dialogue. So I have my vision and my viewpoint, but I would be remiss to say I have all the answers. I don't. So let's sit down and talk and have these conversations around things that are sometimes uncomfortable to talk about. Let's talk about some of the things that's going on, critical race theory, which in my opinion, there's a lot of false narratives around that, what it is and what it isn't. So when I sit down and have conversations around these topics, one of my promises to you is I will create a safe environment to have these. But let's not confuse safe with uncomfortable. We have to get uncomfortable to have these conversations because that's where the growth takes place. So what you will always see when we have these crucial conversations is it will be a brave space. We will be brave enough to talk about what we need to in order to move our community forward collectively. I will close with this quote that I have from Christine Garofalo, which reads, "Diversity is a fact, inclusion is a behavior, but belonging is the emotional outcome that people want in their organization." And I see Jason coming up now. I am delighted to answer any questions that you may have in our remaining time here.
All right, wonderful presentation, Ken.
Thank you.
Questions?
As a member of the original Cultural Diversity Committee at Muskegon Community College, will you be recreating a community diversity committee to provide you with input?
So that is a great question, and the short answer is yes. So what I will be doing is creating two simultaneous things. One, I'm going to reach out to our faculty and staff to have a committee to help drive our efforts forward and to get the lens from people in different parts of the organization, not just first shift, not just third shift, not just faculty, not just staff would do that. So there will be an internal committee, and yes, I'm going to form an external committee that I want to convene quarterly is my vision to make sure that I am moving forward in the way that makes sense and to make sure I haven't missed any blind spots. So the answer is yes.
Brianna?
Thank you for the presentation. It's awesome, and we greatly appreciate your work and your enthusiasm. My question is whether or not the position that you have in your office would be reinstituting the Institute for Healing Racism, which was very integral in the early parts of my Rotarian journey, it was highly suggested that we as Rotarians go through that institute, and I learned so much. So I'm wondering whether MCC will reinvigorate that or bring that back to some extent now that they've got someone with your expertise in charge.
All right, great question. And I was a facilitator for the Institute for Healing Racing in Muskegon. And one of our guests here today, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, I probably couldn't tell you how many sessions I co-facilitated with Larry Lindquist. And so it's good to see my old friend Larry Lindquist there. Yes, so what I have now developed is a program that's adapted from the Institute for Healing Racism. It is a racial dialogue. It's where you come to the table and just have a conversation solely about race. It's not about any other ism but race, and to talk about that. And the good thing about that is you still have the historical context, how it shows up, racism shows up in the world now, and then people leave there with an individual action plan. So those things exist. So I do have a racial dialogue conversation. It's an 8-hour course, if you will, and I will be rolling that out as well in the very near future.
Andy?
Hi, Ken. Thank you for your presentation. When you talk about the stakeholder groups that you'll be working with, does that include the nonprofit community?
Absolutely. So when I gave you that fourth group that I'm working with, and I said the business community, what it is that's the platform that I use to roll out my for-profit, not just for-profit, it's training, it's designed for all, but that's education. For instance, I already did a presentation for North Muskegon Public Schools. That's small, large, nonprofit, private, public, the whole nine. So the answer is yes.
Any other questions from the group or questions from Zoom? Looks like Jane has one over here. Amy? But then people won't be able to hear you on Zoom.
Your emphasis on transparency and metrics is very interesting and I applaud it. I'm wondering what kind of metrics do we use for that third bit, the inclusion, which is really almost attitudinal.
So a little teaser, if any organization wanted to be a part of our benefit of an inclusive culture, we talk about that real ROI, return on investment for DEI. But when that, I would share a couple things. So I hear a lot of people that say, Ken, a few anecdotes that are part of my trainings. You know, it costs money to do this. And then I always say, if you look at it, if you change your mindset, it costs money not to do this. So let's talk about retention. To me, recruitment without effective retention is ineffective. And so if you can stop the revolving door because you have a culture to retain people from employers, that right there is a return on investment. But look at your expenditures. For those of you that are in for-profit or recognize for-profit, look at your expenditures. Usually the highest thing for most companies are personnel. And so if you spend, and I'm just using a hypothetical example, 60%, 70%, 75% of your revenues on personnel, and then you only want to put, a few $1,000s if you're a multi-million-dollar company into diversity, equity, inclusive training. If you flip that and say it's a very minor investment that has a very large return because it's about creating culture, and that's where businesses are more innovative. That's where you retain your talent. That's when you can capture markets that you may not have captured before. So there is indeed a connection to that, and I do have metrics that kind of show how we can move in that direction.
All right, last question from Dr. Crandall.
More a statement than a question about the metrics. The board of Muskegon Community College have end policies that we develop, and we have several end policies that specifically address diversity and inclusion. And we judge the performance of the administration based on those. As this moves forward under Ken's direction, I'm sure that we're going to fine-tune and those end policies so that they more reflect what's going on in the community and what we really need going forward. But the metrics are built in to the board's evaluation of the administration, have been for several years.
All right. Thanks,
Thank you,
Don.
trustee.
All right, another round of applause for Ken James.
Thank you.
Wonderful presentation. Ken and I were trying to figure out where we first met, and I think we landed on Leadership Muskegon, which probably in the mid-2000s was Sue Wieringo. So it's good to see. Oh my gosh, that might have been, that's a while back. So great program. Okay, on to birthdays. We have 2 birthdays. Dale Nesbury today. I don't see Dale. Is Dale here? Probably out celebrating his birthday. And Martin Asplund on the 7th. Is Martin here? Oh, no singing. You're all spared. Well, you see them out in the community, say happy birthday to them. On to our member spotlight. This is a feature that we introduced this Rotary year to recognize our members' vocational avenue of service. And today, we're going to learn about Tim DeMumbrun.
My name is Tim DeMumbrun. I joined Rotary, it's probably 10 years ago now. I actually joined in the Whitehall branch. My office is in Muskegon, so I then transferred down from Whitehall because it was too hard to get up there for meetings, and transferred down to the Muskegon probably 5 years ago now. And I joined Rotary because I believe in a strong community. I believe that the people in that room are the people that make a difference, and I wanted to be part of that. I am the president of West Shore Engineering, West Shore Consulting. Some of you know about SPY. We're about a 25-person corporation. We do surveying, civil engineering, and environmental work here in Muskegon. I live in the lovely town of Whitehall with my lovely wife, Virginia. I have 2 sons, John and Gabe, and I have a lovely daughter-in-law, Danielle. I'm a president of a small civil engineering firm, so we do mostly infrastructure kind of work. So when the city wants to go ahead and put up a new, they call us. We're the first ones on site. We measure everything, make all the topographic maps, determine where all the infrastructure is going to be laid for new projects. You know, I think there's a couple things that we can do. We are excellent mappers. So when we have issues of widespread across the county, I think that I could bring some of our skills for understanding the geographic ramifications of what we're trying to do. It doesn't always fit super well with everything that Rotary does, but I think there's some opportunity maybe when we start talking about some larger scale projects that we could put Rotary in a place where they can be successful in understanding the areas that they're affecting.
All right, thank you, Tim. Okay, we have an induction. Kathy Betts, if you'd like to come up with our soon-to-be newest Rotarian. While Kathy and Monica are coming up here, please hang around because immediately after this, we're going to do a bylaws vote and we need a quorum, so we need all you here. So if anyone's thinking about sneaking out, just stick around for that. Go ahead, Kathy.
All right. First of all, I want to say that being a part of this Rotary Club has added so many wonderful blessings to my life. Sorry, Mike. Meeting Dakota Crow here at Rotary and joining the Caring Boys and Girls Club here in Muskegon has definitely been one of those blessings. I am so honored to introduce my friend and coworker, Monica Turnbull. Monica is a West Michigan native, proud Muskegon Catholic Central Crusader, a graduate of Central Michigan University, a certified recreational therapist, and is currently the Director of Resource Development with the Boys and Girls Club of Muskegon Lakeshore. She enjoys curling up with the stemless glass of Sauvignon Blanc in front of a fire while reading, rewatching the Harry Potter series, or tackling the occasional art project. Monica finds joy in working on jigsaws, diamond, and crossword puzzles. Her and her husband, the one and only Brandon Turnbull back there, are the proud parents of 2 boys. Hudson, a rambunctious 4-year-old that loves climbing, jumping, and helping others. Gavin, an independent 2-year-old that is trying his hardest to keep up with his brother and spends the majority of his time playing in the sandbox or getting into mischief. She organizes a Pup and Fur Mom summer event series with her family's 5-year-old golden doodle. I'm gonna try to get this right. Oliver Ollie Groot. I should know that. And she recently returned to the dance studio, reconnecting with her inner ballerina.
Monica is active in the community as a member of the Muskegon Innovation Hub, a board member of the Disability Network of West Michigan, and she volunteers her time and resources to support the Alzheimer's Association, Be the Match, Pioneer Resources, Project Semicolon, and Red Cross.
Very good. All right. Okay, Monica, you ready? Fellow Rotarians and honored guests, the Rotary Club of Muskegon is privileged to induct a new member. We encourage you to learn about Rotary by actively participating in the club, including attending meetings, social events, and service projects. It's my pleasure to give you this pin, as well as this other Rotary swag by which your members of the community will recognize you. We ask you to wear it proudly. I would also like to issue a challenge that you share the gift that has been given to you and invite another person with like qualities of character, reputation, and commitment to join our club in the next 3 months. The honor of becoming a Rotarian is only surpassed by sponsoring new members. Do you accept this challenge? She said she did. Thank you. Everyone, please rise and welcome the newest Rotarian in the world, Monica Turnbull. You may be seated. Thank you. Okay, it's time for that bylaws vote that I warned you about. Okay, so I'd like to call for a motion from the floor on the proposed bylaws amendments to Article 13. From the floor. I guess you're done with your. Yes. This part?
Just in both. Proposed changes to the Muskegon Rotary Club bylaws, revision adopted June 25th
This is why we have Ginny. Following are the proposed changes to the club bylaws adopted June 25th, 2020 to Article 13, the method of electing members. All the way down there?
Oh, no, you're good. And it's, yeah. and the board- with
You,
the-
I feel like you should do this. She's been coaching me for 2 weeks on this.
It got out there and they've already said it, so call for discussion.
All right.
We'll sit down.
Thank you, Ginny, bless you. Is there any additional discussion on the motion? All right, our bylaws indicate that we can call for a voice vote on this. Everyone in favor of the proposed amendment to the bylaws, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign? All right, that very clunky motion carries, so thank you all. I'll figure this out probably. I got another month, so. Thank you, everybody. Okay, on to the rest of our announcements. If Tim Lipan, Rob Taylor, America Dobry want to come on up. While they're getting up here, I just wanted to share, Doug Wood passed along an announcement to me. There'll be a Red Star Meet the Incoming President meeting coming up at Reed Muskegon. I believe this is a happy hour. That's what I heard. On June 22nd from 5 p.m. to 6:30. Please contact Doug Wood with any questions. Also, the following Red Star members can remove their stars following their 6-month Red Star period. Morgan Carroll, Todd Rexford, Sandy Gaddy, Susan Hausman, Marjorie Jones, Emma Peterson, and Lisa Stafford. You can take that Red Star off your badge. And Rewind meets tonight at 5:15 at Fetch. America?
Ooh, we get the podium. Hello, everybody. My name is Marika Dobry. This is
Andrew Cutler.
We are co-chairs for Parties of the Park, Parties in the Park. It's tomorrow, so that's exciting. I see a lot of people in this room are already signed up. If you are not signed up to volunteer, I could really use more help on the second shift. Jenny McNeil, where are you? Jenny's going to have the sign-up sheet. Please talk to her if you would like to look at your shift, change your shift. No canceling, but we could use the help. What else do you want to say?
Just a reminder, this is one of our biggest fundraising efforts of the year. We really do need the help. This goes a long way for us, so please.
Lastly, if you are on the Parties in the Park committee, if you could see me for just a minute or two after Rotary, we'll put our heads together and make sure we've got everything set for tomorrow. So thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Tim Lipan. Are you ready for some baseball? With enthusiasm. Are you ready for some baseball? Thank you very much. Hey, we're having a Clipper carload party, a Rotary Clipper carload party at historic Marsh Field to watch the Muskegon Clippers play. Muskegon Clippers are a summer collegiate baseball team. These players come in from all over the country. They're scholarship athletes from universities all around the United States. They'll come here and spend 2 months playing baseball and enjoying Muskegon. And part of our effort with the social committee is to do things to gather you folks outside of the meeting setting so we can spend some quality time together. And so we've come up with this concept. It's a carload party. So here's how it works. Basically, bring as many people as you can fit in your car. It's $10 a car to get into the ballpark. Once you get in, everybody will get a free Marshfield meal, which is a hot dog and a bag of chips, and also a free beverage, whether it's soft drinks or an adult beverage as well. We'll have VIP seating. We're going to have the party deck there. It's right above the Clipper dugout, so it's a pretty wild place to be. And then we'll do games and giveaways throughout the game in between innings. We play a lot of music. We'll have a little dance contest. I'm hoping you can throw out the first pitch. Oh, sure. You good? Loosen up. Get your son going. And we'll do a lot of other things to really engage you for some fun. But also, we're going to play some really good baseball this year. We have a brand new coach. And it looks like we're going to be, on paper, we are awesome. So we'd love to have you there. It's Wednesday, June 8th. All you got to do is show up. And if it rains that day and the game's rained out, we'll do it the next day, June 9th. All right? Thank you.
So here's the show. Hello, everybody. I'm Rob Taylor, your committee chairperson for the Seaway Run. I know everybody in here is looking at, well, I'm really busy. You know, June's a busy month, but we're just talking a couple hours. There's all different kinds of jobs, aid stations, packet pickup, setup, tear down, and we still need more volunteers for the run. Now Andrew said that the Parties in the Park is one of our biggest fundraisers. Well, the Seaway Run is our biggest fundraiser. So it's really important to fill our coffers so we can do good things in the community. And as I said, we need more volunteers. If you're not volunteering, you should be running or walking. And I know everybody's capable of at least walking. So now we're taking volunteers on the Seaway Run website. You'll find a spot on there where it says volunteers. You could also sign up for the run or the walk on the website. So just put in Seaway Run and you'll find all that. Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone for all those announcements. Raffle, I believe Ed has a raffle today. Yep, what are we doing first, Ed? $10, starting in the middle. $067, $10. Oh, is that Jasmine? I think so. $5. $167, all right. You get a 267. $120. That brings us to the conclusion of our meeting. I want to thank Ken for a wonderful program. All our visitors, Jocelyn, Marla, Shaq, Mark, Caitlin, Shakurna, Amy, Raj, David, Jasmine, Mickey, Kendra, Ashley, Larry, welcome to the club. Monica, next week's program, we're going to learn about Juneteenth, National Independence Day. You'll want to come out and see that. We'll be back here at the Roadhouse, the Lake House. Where I got the road. I don't know. 4 more. All you got is 4 more of these with me. So you're going to be the Lake House. Okay. If everyone could please rise, we'll do the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it will goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, have a good rest of your week.